Strategic Petroleum Reserves, SPR. It's a pleasure having Ronald Stein, Senior Policy Advisor for the Heartland Institute, Energy Consultant, PTS Advanced Founder. Good afternoon, Ronald Stein.
Good afternoon, Armando.
Excellent to see you again here. Uh, Please let me start with two pictures. This one that shows that, just for context,
Okay.
SPR is an emergency oil stock for any interruption of oil supply. The US, China, and Japan maintain the largest SPR in the world. And the second picture that I would like to show is this is the US SPR profile curve from 1983 to today. So the maximum value was 700 and something million barrels, and now is less than 350 barrels. But my point for you to start our conversation, Ronald, is the US as a whole consuming 20 million barrels a day and producing 13 million barrels a day. Is the country protected?
I would have to say no. We're getting less and less protected. The oil embargo in 1973 turned on the light bulb that we were too dependent on foreign oil to run our economy. And so the Department of Energy was formed, and with the mandate to lessen our dependency on foreign crude oil to run the country. And a couple years later, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve was formed to have a stockpile of oil within the country to help run the refineries, to help run the economy. And the SPR is basically just has a capacity of like 700,000 barrels a day. 700,000 barrels, and it's been depleted. And recently, President Biden, took some out to get the gas prices down, and now we got like a 20-day supply. That's all we have. And
So
so,
they supply for which consumptions? Is low consumption than 20 goes to 4 million barrels a day, I suppose, to
no,
keep the country working.
if we basically use the SPR, there's 20 days supply to run
Okay.
the refineries in the United States,
Keeping the refinery working and
keeping the
supplying.
products flowing, the fuels flowing. We got airports, we got cars, trucks, trains.
20 days means that is enough to recompose the system or military or in terms of emergency.
No,
This
no.
is the concept.
In 20 days, we run out.
Yeah, but these 20 days are enough to keep, let's see, solutions for the problems.
Well, no, no, definitely not. The solutions take years. If you want to basically provide drilling within the United States,
Okay.
that takes years to get permitting, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, that's a long process to put in place.
Yeah, the US is not protected, but California is, I'm sure that's totally protected. No?
Oh, no, we're at least protected. Yeah, California, the good news is we're the fourth largest economy in the world. The bad news is, like you say, the Department of Energy was formed to reduce America's dependency on crude oil. But since 1973, California's been increasing our dependency on crude oil. And the problem is California is an energy island. We're separated from the rest of the country because there's no pipelines over the Sierra Mountains to get any of that SPR oil to us. Or during the fracking boom, there was no way to get that oil to us other than going through the Panama Canal.
Oh, this is the
And-
picture
and-
that you sent to me, no?
Yeah, show the picture.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, like I say, when the oil embargo happened, very on the far left, we were 5% dependent on foreign crude oil to run the California economy. A lot of Alaska oil was coming in, through the ocean to the ports, and a lot of oil production in California. Since that time, we've known from the beginning that Alaska oil production was going to be decreasing from day one. It has. And California policies are restricting and reducing and eliminating oil production in the state. So California production's been going down. Alaska production has been going down. Demand is not changing very much. And to make up for the difference, we just keep importing more and more foreign oil. And today, California is dependent on foreign oil from OPEC and Russia and other foreign countries for in excess of 60% of the oil. And, California being the fourth largest economy in the world, we have 9 international airports here in California. We got 41 military airports in California. We got 3 of the largest shipping ports in California. And we're depending on foreign oil to run all those. And so, we basically have gone to be a national security risk for the entire country. I take a look at the DOE. Go ahead. You had a question.
No. The blue part of the picture is California internal production. Is it correct?
Yes. That's oil production in California.
The orange one is Alaska.
That's Alaska.
Imports from Alaska, okay. And the green is foreign countries.
Foreign countries, yes.
Oh, sorry, interruption. Yeah.
No problem. But the Department of Energy, they were formed during the oil embargo 50 years ago to lessen America's dependency on foreign crude oil. So I'm not sure what they're doing. Today, the DOE has 14,000 employees. They got 95,000 contractors throughout the country, 83 offices throughout the country. They have a $48 billion budget.
Wow.
And, isn't any one of those looking at California and raising the flag? Because if there's an oil embargo, California is going to be hit big time. They could have all the fracking they want, but like I mentioned, there's no pipelines to bring that oil from the Midwest over the Sierra Mountains to California. It's a lot cheaper and takes less time to bring it in from a foreign country.
But the reaction for a crisis, something, an emergency, is California independent taking decisions, or is a country as a whole?
Well, I think California, we're our own separate country because the DOE,
So
like
big,
say,
yeah.
well, yeah, like I say, we've been reducing oil production. All the governors, from Governor Wilson, back in the late 90s, through Governor Gray Davis and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Ed Brown and Gavin Newsom.
Republicans and Democrats, both.
Both, yes. And so, here we are today. Like you say, we're hurting. I feel for the country because not only would an oil import affect our economy, it's going to affect the rest of the country. There's a lot of products come in through these ports, and we got to basically provide fuel for the trucks and the ships to get the ships moving in and out, and get the trucks to take the loads and get them the rest of the country. So, there's a lot of products that the country depends on us for, and having 9 international airports, if we can't provide the fuel for them, they won't be flying anywhere.
There is a question from Slim Mansley. Thank you, Slim. Does the SPR also include fuel for defense, for instance, or not?
It's fuel, period. It's crude oil. It's for any use. And like I say, it just goes to different refineries. Refineries have a lot of tanks on their property, and that's just storing the oil to keep the supply chain moving so they can move it through the refinery and manufacture it into products and fuels. And got to keep those tanks filled. And the fuel that comes out of them, the fuel, we can basically, I guess, prioritize that for military use and not for,
Sure.
not for the gasoline for trucks and cars.
Sure. There is another comment from him. Let me try to read. There was a book by Lisa Mongonelli oil on the brain? It's a very long question. I'll take uh, what's about inevitably the system is limited some process choke like pumps and pipes and the other technical component preventing from talking. Yeah, it's a long question for me. It's complicated because I have several. Uh,
Well, yeah, it's obviously to get the oil out, you got to pump it out and you got to move it by train or by trucks or by rail. And it's a major process, but at least you would have it. You're not going to get it instantaneously. It's going to take a lot of effort to get it to the particular, refineries throughout the nation.
yeah, Ronald, other countries like Japan, China. I have something from China here. Let me show you. China has 400 million barrels as SPR, a little bit more than the United States at this time. So how do you see? And China now is consuming more than the United States, I suppose, in terms of oil. But
Yes, but their economy is not as much as the United States. In the United States, we have 135 refineries. Well, it was 130. I think it's down to 129. 129 refineries throughout the whole country. And so, yeah, there's a big economy in the United States, and
yeah, no
those
doubt.
refineries are providing fuels for airports throughout the nation, and trucks throughout the nation. The different ports throughout the nation, east and west. So it's a real challenge to keep the economy fueled, no pun intended.
Yeah,
But
that's right. I didn't say anything about Europe. If they probably they have, of course they have. I don't know the numbers that they have. If they have for each country, of they have for the community of Europeans.
I'm not sure about that. I really, the reason I wrote that article was really addressing the Strategic Petroleum Reserve that was assembled 50 years ago during the oil embargo, when the oil embargo paralyzed the United States, and they didn't want that to happen again. And like I say, we've been up around the capacity in 700, 750, but you know, President Biden wants to get rid of oil, and price of gasoline was going up, so he took some out to basically feed the refineries and bring the price of gasoline down. But the SPR volume is, like I said, is only about a 3 week supply. So if an oil embargo hit, there'd be a lot of panic. In 3 weeks,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
lights would start going out.
And Ronald, so the solution is to rebuy, to buy again the volumes to reface, redo the same level of the past for 20 days.
Well, yeah, we obviously want to keep the supply chain moving. And I know there's a big movement. They had the big climate summit in Dubai, and most politicians believe we can replace oil with wind and solar. But Armando, as we talked about before, wind and solar do different things than oil. Wind and solar only generate electricity, where oil is it's virtually useless, it's black tar. But if you can refine it into, through refineries into petrochemicals to make the 6,000 products in our daily lives and the different fuels for the planes and ships and cars and trucks, and it's in the space program, it's a totally different animal because wind and solar can't make a refrigerator. And so,
Yeah,
and the X-ray equipment is you can't make that with wind and solar, and it's the type of thing that there's really no replacement has been identified to be able to manufacture the products in our materialistic society. The materialistic society we have today didn't exist 200 years ago. 200 years ago, before oil, we had a zero emission society, but there was no roads, there was no tires, there was no asphalt, and life was short. People seldom lived beyond 40 years of age, and when they were born, they very seldom traveled 100 miles from where they were born. So it was a tough life, but it was a zero emission society.
And Ronald, what are they let's say waiting for? A price to come down and to buy cheaper oil to repose this reposition of these volumes?
Well, no, like I say, I think there's an international movement to rid the world of fossil fuels. But my concern is there's three fossil fuels. There's coal, natural gas, and oil. Now, coal and natural gas are heavily used to generate electricity. Maybe you can get wind and solar to pick up that load, but we haven't found any replacement for oil because oil is almost never used to generate electricity. It's only used to generate petrochemicals that makes all the products in our daily lives and the different fuels.
And
And
transportation, diesel, gasoline, yeah,
oh yeah, yeah,
naphtha. Yeah.
yeah, all the transportation, and the basics is tires and asphalt. I mean, that's an oil product, and wind and solar can't produce tires, and wind and solar can't produce asphalt.
And which level has this capacity to decide about this? The Secretary of Energy or the President of the country, or so,
It's
who
it's
can
all
decide about?
all of the above. I mean, the people that are setting the tone are the president, and the governors. They got the microphone, and like I say, there's very few discussions. I'm all 100% in favor of getting rid of oil, but show me your backup plan before we do that. I mean, there is a backup plan for getting rid of coal and natural gas. You have basically wind and solar, but if you get down to it, Armando, all the components to make a wind turbine and all the components to make a solar panel are made with the oil derivatives manufactured from oil. And so
Yeah.
if you get rid of oil, you're going to get rid of wind turbines, solar panels, electric vehicles, toasters, washing machines, refrigerators. It just goes on and on and on. All the products, trying to identify something in your home, at your, at the hospital, at your relative's house. It's something that was not made with the oil derivatives from fossil fuels. And, synthetics, they're usually just synthetics are basically lubricants. But tents, the homeless, they're living in tents and sleeping bags. Wind and solar can't make tents and sleeping bags.
And Ronald, the warships that the United States have, I mean, some warships in Middle East nowadays, very close to Israel, others in just south of China, south of Sea, China Sea, and several different positions in the world. So how they feed, how they supply the the the, the, the fuel for these ships?
Well, every country has refineries that are manufacturing crude oil into something usable, and so all the ships they go into the different ports, and
Okay.
yeah, the ports have a
French ports,
tremendous infrastructure to load the ships and with fuel.
because the volume is fantastic
Oh,
of these ships.
huge! Oh, huge! Yeah, it's a big challenge, and like you say, they keep focusing on reducing emissions, so they want to get rid of all fossil fuels. But I'm like I say, I'm willing to jump out of an airplane, but not without a parachute. And by the way, that parachute is made out of fossil fuels.
In this case of warships, with some sanctions that the United States and not only the United States, Europe too, they have some sanctions with several countries in the world. So this is something that the logistics to supply these warships is not something very simple, probably.
It's a major logistics problem. I had a chance to go to on a cruise once to visit Normandy, and I was impressed. You talk about a logistics exercise to bring in those hundreds of ships at the same time because they all needed fuel, and it's a logistic problem. I'm just not sure how they even achieved it. all that equipment, all the personnel, the fuel for the ships, for the planes. It was a logistical nightmare. And to see the model they had of the beach landing with all the ships out there, I just can't even comprehend. And I'm an engineer, and I just can't comprehend how they achieved fueling all those ships. And it was almost like a surprise attack type thing.
No doubt. Ronald, considering that renewables are growing very fast and a limit that cars will be all electric, ships will be all electric, planes all electric. I know that it's impossible, but only a supposition. How can be the SPR for renewables?
Well, the SPR is providing all the products because to go electric, I mean, the EV, it's 100% made with petrochemicals. The tires, all the electronics, all the components. It just has a battery that has lithium and ion and, can hold a charge. But, you're not going to be able to build the car without oil. And that's the thing. And I'm in shock. We had, 70,000 people show up in Dubai at this climate conference. And, they just generically say all fossil fuels have to go because
Phase
of
out.
emission. But like you say, there's a possibility. There's no silver bullet answers. And like I say, wind can pick up some of the electrical generation. Solar can pick up some of the electrical generation. But if you got, snowy conditions and, icy storms, it's going to affect that weather-dependent electrical generating capability.
Yeah, that's right.
And, you still need the products to make the wind turbines, to make the solar panels. It's just like, the iPhone. Electricity can charge the iPhone, but it can't make the iPhone. And the electronic equipment being used to allow us to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Electricity makes it work, but electricity can't make the product. The product is made with oil.
Yeah, Ronald, the oil SPR is equivalent to a battery for EVs, or
Exactly. It's
not?
a storage, yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
storage.
It's right now it's a 20 right now it's down to a 20-day storage.
How big is a battery for 20 days storage?
Well, this is
It's
20-day
impossible.
supply for the country. Like I
This is
say,
a
of all the
very
refineries in the country, they would each be getting some of it, except California will be getting none of it because we have the Sierra Mountains in the way, and those are a big range of mountains, and there's no pipelines over the mountains. So, yeah, the only way to get that oil to us would be by train or by truck, and to get that much oil, it's a logistical challenge.
Is there SPR for natural gas, or is the concept not applicable for
I don't think
natural
it's
gas?
applicable to natural gas. Natural gas is a lot easier to move because
Yeah, that's right.
it's a gas, and liquid is much harder to move.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you can compress by pipelines, and but
Exactly, right.
and natural gas is really something very useful for this case of renewables that cannot produce energy. So natural gas can come and can.
Well, yes, because wind and solar, like I say, they get subsidies based on their nameplate rating, and most of the time they don't work, and so they're not producing their nameplate capacity. So I think it's a fallacious thing to give them subsidies based on the nameplate. They should be given a subsidy based on what they can produce annually. Because when you take a look at coal and natural gas and nuclear, they generate like 95% of their capacity all year long.
Yeah,
And so it's a challenge.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Let me show a question from Mansley. Is the SPR exclusively intended for domestic US use, or the law also accommodates some other friendly nations allies?
It's only for our use here, yes. Oh, no, we wouldn't give it I'm not sure we have any friendly nations. You know, there aren't too many around.
Yeah, that's right. Very, very
But the
fast.
only nations we have nearby is Canada and Mexico. Any other nation would have to ship it out, you know, by ships. And right now it's coming in by ships.
So the closer friends are Canada and Mexico. So Canada has oil, abundant oil. Oil is not a problem for them. Mexico too. Mexico is a very big producer.
Yes, yes. Yeah, they've got oil and they've got some refineries. But like I say, it was a national security risk. That's why the DOE was formed. That's why the reserve was formed, is to alleviate that pain. And like I say, it shut down the country. And remember the gas lines are just tremendous.
Yeah, you use it a very a terrific expression, national security. So
Yes.
who is taking care of this national security? So people that
Uh,
are sensible for this kind of problems, or they are.
I would think, Armando, we have a lot of generals report to the president. We got the Army, the Navy, the military, the Marines, the space program. I don't know if one general has asked the question to the president, how are we going to run our military? Forget the
Without oil.
economy, just the military without crude oil. And, having a 3-week supply, that's that's supposed to be for the whole country.
Yeah, very dangerous. And if you
Yeah.
have something strong, I mean, a conflict that can
Right.
make
Right.
really is fantastic. SPR is a term that should be considered with more.
Yes. Yeah. I wish the people can look it up. Like you say, it's the SPR there's information on that. There's information on the Department of Energy, huge organization, and but we are California is like a separate country. We're just depending more and more on foreign oil, and being the fourth largest economy in the world, we're a national security risk, and nobody is showing any concern.
Yeah.
So
Domenico saying, are we discussing FJB's strategic political reverse?
So it'll be, like I said, subject matter, and especially with the international pressure to reduce oil, the United States probably not going to back off. But like I say, I don't know what's going to replace it. That's a $64,000 question.
And you see that the U.S. is close to the COP28 decisions, or is
Well, they were supportive of all those
supportive?
decisions,
Yes,
and
totally.
like I say, the best thing about it, they decided not to use the word to eliminate fossil fuels.
Yeah,
They're going to try and
phase out.
reduce them, which means nothing. And yeah, so we'll continue as it is, and until we come up with an alternative. And if we come up with an alternative, then we'll get rid of oil. But until then, happy holidays, everybody.
That's right. Winter's coming, and
Yes,
okay. What was great conversation about SPR as a very strategic point of the countries, and especially in the United States. But every country needs to see this
fantastic.
term of SPR. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Armando, you have a happy and safe holiday season, and to everybody else, happy and safe holidays.
Yeah, for you too, and all your family in
Okay,
California. Thank you,
okay,
Ronald.
take
Have a
care.
good day. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.